good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. A warm welcome along to today's United Kingdom talk. First up today, how is Joy in Acton? My longest listener, as I say, Joy in Acton, my longest listener, and she is doing okay at the moment in hospital. I literally just a few moments ago put my phone down because I have located her. You see, my eye is observing all the time, watching what's going on, looking after our most loyal friends and listeners. And I have located Joy. She's actually in Hammersmith Hospital in London. And I found the ward she was in and everything. And she's got a phone by the bed. Now, God knows how much that's cost me to ring that dear. Because recently, as you know, my nephew wasn't too well either. He was in hospital up there, and he had this bedside phone thing. And you could ring it, no problem at all, but it was 39p a minute. 39 pence a minute, dear! What a rib-off. And that was off-peak. On-peak, I think it was 49 pence a minute. But not only that, the first minute of the phone call is some blooming woman telling you all this, that and the other about everything there is to know in the world, dear. So the first minute cost you 39p and you don't even get to talk to the person at the other end. However, not the same. Now, what hospital was that? It's somewhere up north. Pilgrims Hospital, up in the north of the country. All the patients have got a phone by their bed, but it's 39p a minute off-peak, 49p a minute on-peak. And I've got to say, it's not even that I mind so much, but I do object to the minute's worth of advertising that you get before you get the phone call put through. I mean, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. I wouldn't even mind if you listened to it once. But every time you ring a patient's phone, you get this blooming long answer phone message that tells you what's available, what you can buy the patients and this, that and the other, and it's outrageous. And it happens every time. Not so the phone system where I rang Joy, I'm pleased to say. Just a few moments ago, I said, again, I rang the hospital to find out what ward she was in. I found the ward, found the person, and got her personal phone number. I was able to speak to her on the phone. She's a bit weak, a bit giddy, okay? Not eating an awful lot. However, she's hoping to be back out in a couple of days. So good news there. And thank you so much. A couple of you sent in some private emails, which I was able to read to her down the phone. And I swear she was crying when she was hearing your emails. So tears of happiness, of course. All right, so thank you so much. I won't say who sent them in and who didn't, but thank you so much for the private emails that came through, and I was able to, as I say, read them down the phone to her just a couple of minutes ago. And soon she'll be back with us, back in her home, because Joy likes being at home. I've got to be honest. I am, of course, about to go back to working 7 nights a week again because I've picked up some more jobs. But honestly, where I've had nights off, it's not that I'm sitting here looking for something to do. I'm one of those people who has always got something to do. And I'm not quite sure whether I don't think I do actually want to work 7 nights a week. So, you see, what tends to happen is that I keep saying that. And then I take on other jobs and I say, well, give it 2 months, and if everything's okay, then I'll drop something else. But it never happens. Is anyone else like that? You see, the trouble is, as I said before, years ago, another DJ who's dead now, he died a few years ago, in his early 70s. He told me to always take the work while it's there because you never know when it's dried up, which I've always done, but it's never kind of dried up. So I've been very, 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 very lucky with that. But now I think I do want some nights at home, you know. I don't know about you, and Joy is one of those people. She doesn't like to leave the house. She goes up and does her job at the same hospital where she is at the moment. So, of course, when I say a job, she isn't actually paid for that. She's with the Women's Royal Voluntary Society, I think it's called, the WRVS. And they're an organisation of volunteers we have in the UK, and they do marvellous work. One of the jobs they do is in hospitals. They usually set up a little canteen. and provide patients and indeed visitors to the hospital with teas and cakes and crisps and all that. My mum did the same, actually, so I know exactly what Joy does. The only thing with my mum, of course, is one of her jobs was to take the sweet trolley round to the children's ward. And I swear, none of those children ever bought the sweets. My mum would always buy them for the kids. Good luck to her. I bet Joy probably. I think Joy works selling stuff like marmalade, all to raise funds for the hospital and all this sort of business. Joy actually makes marmalade. She makes a lovely little pot of marmalade. While I was actually Joy, and I know she will actually see this show because I'm going to put it on a DVD for her and send it to her. Actually, Joy, do you realise? And I'm going to have to complain here, dear. I'm going to have to complain. It's 8 years since you sent me a little pot of your homemade marmalade. 8 years, dear. I shall always remember, and I never told you this, Joy, I shall always remember when you sent me in that pot of marmalade to what was then Liberty Radio in London, which is closed down now. And I opened this box, and one of the other presenters on the station, who was rather famous, who will remain nameless, saw what was in the box. He says, "You're not going to eat that, are you?" I said, "I certainly am." He said, "But that's the trouble, you should never, ever eat anything sent in by a listener." Well, it's true enough, isn't it? You don't know. You don't know who's watching it. We might have extremists watching or listening to this programme at the moment who are now going to send me in food that's poisonous. And I might have just eaten some for all you know. How do you know someone sent me in sweeties this week? I could be sitting here at the moment, fading before your very... Am I fading? I'm melting! 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 Yes. So that's the good news about Joy, and she'll be on her way home. And as soon as she's well and fit enough, we'll get her on the phone to tell us, all about her little ordeal. Okay? So good news there. I know you were waiting to hear that. Right, lots of emails on the show today. First of all, if you were listening to the last show, did you not a single email arrive? Well, it might have arrived now, but you've missed the cut-off point. I'm afraid there is a cut-off point, dear. Cut-off point. You've missed the cut-off point. What do you think earwax is for? I was listening to Dr. Carl on Triple J, Australia's national youth station. I'm quite good at that accent. What do you think, Matty? Matty in Australia. What am I like with the Australian accent, eh? Huh? It's Australia's national youth station. This is Triple J with Dr. Carl and some girl who's there. The girl always sounds a little bit pushy to me. Does she you? I don't know what the girl's name is, but she sounds a bit pushy. But very good show, that is. If you want to download the podcast, okay, just type in Dr. Carl on Triple J. And you should find out that one. Anyway, according to Dr. Carl, earwax in your ear is the human equivalent of flypaper. That's what earwax is for. The idea, as in it stops dust particles and possibly, insects. I don't know if it would stop insects, although we did, of course, have... who was it who wrote in about the moth in their ear? Oh, someone had a moth in their ear, so it didn't obviously stop the moth getting in the ear, did it? But earwax is... We have a lot of conversations about ears, don't we? Have you noticed that? We're always talking about ears or some bodily part, aren't we? Yes, we are. Earwax is supposed to be like flypaper. That is, when dust and things fly into your ear, which, let's face it, happens, okay? The idea is the earwax traps it and stops it going down into that little head of yours. All right? So there we are, a little bit of scientific information for you today. Scientific information. Talking of which, what on earth are these mad scientists at the moment trying to do under the French and Swiss Alps? My God. They're doing some sort of the biggest physics experiment ever. They have already switched on the machine, haven't they? Now, I gather, I thought last Wednesday was this big experiment. But apparently it is an ongoing thing. All they did on Wednesday was switch the machine on and started firing oh, what are they? Is it electrons or proton? I don't know. I was no good at physics, dear. But they've started firing these things down this tunnel, which apparently is 17 miles long. And the idea is then they fire something the other way and they want to get them to collide and see what happens. It's supposed to produce the same effects as just after the Big Bang, which they say created the universe. I mean, why are they mucking about with stuff like that? Don't you think that's a little bit dangerous? Of course, if you look on the internet, on all the forums and things like that, then you've got the other people as well saying how dangerous all this, and the world could end tomorrow because of this big experiment. But that was Wednesday, and on the last look, let me just pinch myself. Yes, I am still here. But apparently, as I say, I thought the big experiment was all Wednesday, do it, all over and done with. But no, all they did Wednesday was turn the machine on. And apparently this experiment will be ongoing for a while. What do I think about that? Well, I'm all up for experiments and things like that, as long as they're safe. But on the other hand, I don't suppose most scientists, when they first do an experiment, know what the outcome's going to be anyway. Otherwise, what's the point of doing the experiment? And it's funny, really. It's not funny, but there are things in the world now that are there because certain human beings were really unkind and cruel to other human beings. Take a lot of the antibiotics and things, operating procedures that are done when someone is ill. There's a lot of inoculations. They are there because of the terrible, terrible experiments that were done on the Jews during the war. Dreadful, 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 dreadful experiments. But because of those experiments, we have vaccinations for various different diseases now. Maybe they wouldn't be here had it not have been for those experiments. It's a horrible situation to be in, and yet we are all in that situation. What do? Do you say, no thank you, I don't want that vaccination because it came about due to the experiments you did on other people? Horrible, horrible situation. And of course, I have had all the inoculations, but how they went about discovering the vaccinations and that sort of thing, it's not good, is it? I wonder if they still go about doing vaccinations and things like that now. Quite often here on the radio here in the UK, you do hear of clinics advertising for people to go there and offer their bodies or minds up to, while they're still alive, to the clinics for testing of a specific drug of some sort. Now, when we get to this stage, it's supposed to be fairly safe. Every test they've done, and it's like the end of the line. The last thing they've got to do with with a particular drug is test it on a human. They've done everything else they can possibly do, but the last thing they've got to do is testing it on a human. And supposedly, by that stage, it's fairly safe. But we had the case a couple of years ago here in the UK, I don't know if you remember it, where they tested some drugs on people, and it went badly wrong. Badly, badly wrong. And these people were in excruciating pain. I believe some of them lost fingers and toes and that sort of thing as well. So, interesting subject that, isn't it, eh? Let us know what you think on any of the things we talk about. Or if you just want to say hello, it's always nice to hear from you. The email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? How are we doing on time? I want to do all these emails today. I've bought something. I don't know if I've got time. Shall I show you? No. If we don't have time on this show, I'll tell you what. Let me get it. I'm just going to get a little bit of it and show. Okay, if I can describe. It's like a black fleece blanket, okay, that I've got held up in front of me at the moment. It's like a black fleece blanket, but it's not just an ordinary blanket, okay? Have you got any idea what this could be? Now, I probably won't have time to tell you what it is on the show. But to use this, here's another clue. This blanket, which has got a wire, okay? This blanket, you'll never guess what I'm going to do with this. This blanket does not plug into the mains, okay? So have you any idea what that's for? Eh? Might tell you later, might tell you on the next show. Right, here we go then. Got to say hello to Toby first. Sorry, we read the thing, the email on the last show, Toby. But there you go. That's what the earwax is for. Because he was saying, have you seen how thick your earwax is? Use cotton bud to dig your left ear and give it a smell. No, well, we hope you did. Did anyone try that at home? Oh, and it vile, 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 vile. Thank you. So. Good news about Joy. We'll talk to her on the phone as soon as she's back, all right? Also, got to say hello and welcome back to Sherry B. Sherry B, who's a regular... I think you're a listener, aren't you, Sherry? Sherry B is a regular listener to the show, and she's been on holiday. But you haven't told me where you've been, dear. Where have you been? Did you go abroad? Did you hire something here in the UK? A lot of people staying back here now in the UK for their holidays. And quite honestly... why do we go abroad? I think most people go abroad for the better weather. Let's face it, we don't have brilliant summers here in the UK. I don't think this summer has been particularly that bad. Certainly not as bad as it was last summer. We've had some nice days. We've had some nice run of days together. We've also had a lot of rain, but don't we always? But I think a lot more people are staying here in the UK now for holidays just to save the money. It's getting rather expensive to fly, don't you think? I was hoping next year to go to Australia again. Now, I was considering going to Israel, as you remember, at the end of this year, but that's not going to happen now. And I was thinking about going to Australia next year, but I'm looking at the prices at the moment, and they're quite expensive to fly now. Quite expensive to fly, so I'll have to see about that. But welcome back, Sherry B, who's been on holiday. And where have you been, my darling? Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. It's Susan, our delicious cat lover. We got halfway through. Well, the cats are not delicious. I mean, we wouldn't want to eat our own cats, would we, my darling? We got halfway through her email, about a third of the way through the email on the last show. And she was told... by vets, that cats, the best diet you can feed your cat or dog is raw meat. Now, this is coming from Susan, who works with the big cats, lions, tigers, that sort of thing. She says, do not cook it. It destroys the nutrients like taurine that are essential. Is that how you say that? Taurine? I think it is. Taurine. Is that microphone's a bit high up, isn't it? Just push that down a little bit. It's right in the way there. Do you mind seeing the microphone? I mean, I can fix it so you can't... Is okay there? I mean, I could put that up a bit, I suppose, like that. I don't know. That's all right, isn't it? It's not bothering you, is it? Oh, well. Yeah, Susan works with big cats. Now, she's been told this by a vet. Now, the vets we use are the ones that teach students to become vets. Okay? So, they know what they're talking about. They absolutely know what they're talking about. The university has its own clinic where it sees domestic pets and another clinic that is for exotic animals. Can I just go back to vets again? I meant to tell you my sister went to pay for the vet's fees for Bruno. You remember Bruno, that lovely dog that unfortunately a couple of weeks ago she had to have him put down because he got leukemia, and it was all very sad. Well, she's been to see the vet this week, first of all to pay the money, which was, I think, very, very reasonable for the care the dog got and for his, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, the old injection at the end there. Very, very reasonable fees. And she was asking them, she's noticed that the other two dogs are clearly missing Bruno. Of course, because they won't know what happened. I know there's plenty of people out there who say animals don't think. I don't agree with that at all. They do think and they do know what's going on. The only thing is, all the other two dogs would have seen was Bruno becoming ill and then disappearing. And my sister said they keep going around and they don't seem particularly happy, the two of them. And the vet actually said to them that he probably made a mistake in taking the dog away and then, of course, disposing, of course, of poor Bruno's little body. He reckons it would have been better if my sister's other two dogs had come to the veterinary surgery and seen Bruno's body. They would have then seen the dog gone, dead. They would have then have accepted that and gone. At the moment, these two dogs are running around and they're not sure what's happened. So it's very interesting that. Very interesting that, Susan. I wonder if you've experienced a similar thing at the place where you help out. Susan goes on to say, this is where they teach students that want to become exotic vets to work for zoos. Tiny, that's my old cat, will get enough greens by eating grass, which she does indeed, and from the stomachs of the mice and other small animals she may catch. No, she doesn't catch animals anymore. I'm afraid she's not fast enough. The mice usually go running past her. And me come to that. Susan says, if anyone out there has an indoor pet, just give them a vitamin supplement. That's instead of the cats going out. Yeah, I always see my two cats there munching away at the grass, they are. Susan says, you can give Tiny raw fish fillets. Tiny is my old cat, okay? She's going to be about 23, I think. Tiny raw fish fillets without bones, kidneys, small amounts of liver, raw chicken, turkey, beef and ham are also good. Now, you say that about the raw fish fillets. She is actually at the moment eating, just before I came up I fed her actually. First of all, I thought, let's try her with a bit more cat food. Nope, she's not interested. She's not going to eat that cat food again. Not now that I've been living it up with her. But I have just opened a tin of tuna chunks. And, they know what's in that can, don't they, before you even open the thing. They do. I'm at the sink opening, because always with I don't eat fish, canned fish myself. I don't like it. But always, if I'm opening a can of that fish in brine or whatever it's in, I do it on the sink because it stinks. Oh, I hate the smell. Oh, it stinks. If you get that on the blooming on the work surface, it's there all week, isn't it? So I always do it over the sink and turn the tap on as well. But while I'm opening this thing, Tiny's come into the kitchen and she's purring around my legs. Remember, I just put cat food down in her little thing. She walked straight away from that and come. They know what's in those tins, I swear. Also, Susan, I've got another package of turkey chunks, which are uncooked. They were in the fridge, but I've now put them in the freezer for a couple of days, as you suggested, to kill anything in there that's living in the meat. And I'll bring that out, thaw it out, and I'll try giving her that raw as well, and I'll let you know what happens. Raw chicken, turkey, beef, and ham are also good, Susan says. Canned tuna and chicken does not have the nutrients your pets need. I didn't know this. Also, here she says, also freeze your meat at least overnight before feeding. So they've been in there, that's been in the freezer 2 days now, so I'll probably get it out when I finish the show. This will kill most harmful bacteria and parasites. This goes for the meat you eat as well. So, interesting there. As I say, I've got a turkey thing in the freezer at the moment. I'll take that out when we finish the show, let it thaw out, and then put it down for her, and we'll see how we get on with that. All right, Susan? Thanks for the advice there, my love. Susan says, now a lot of you will ask your vet about this. Your vet will most likely tell you that your pet could get worms or salmonella from raw meats. You can give your pet a monthly wormer, but usually it's not necessary. I've got to say, I don't think my cats have had a worming tablet for years. And they don't seem to have a problem. How would you know if a cat's got worms or not? Do they just get thin? I don't know. I wonder. You used to have... If I remember rightly, virtually every time I went to the vet, they used to have a worming tablet, but for some reason they stopped giving them. I suppose you have to ask for them now, do you? But Susan reckons you don't need to do it all the time. She says, my cat, Susan's got a bobcat, which is a lot larger than mine, of course. My cat has eaten raw meat for 16 years, and his yearly checkup has never found worms. Buy a pair of poultry scissors to cut up your meat. These are very sharp and makes cutting up meat extremely easy. You will find that it's also cheaper to buy fresh meat than it is to buy pet food. I've already worked that one out, dear. Yeah, those little turkey chunks. That big thing, right? It was I mean, it wasn't that big, but I cooked them. I boiled the turkey, and I put a bit of chicken gravy in as well to give it a bit of a taste. You're saying, of course, all that's not necessary, but one of those, I think, it ended up lasting 5 days. Just one. And that was £3, about £3.50. So, yeah, I think it is cheaper than pet food. Not only will you save a lot of money by not buying canned or dry pet food, your pet will be a lot healthier and love her dinners. We have domestic dogs and cats as well as domestic dogs and cats as pets as well. They all eat raw meat. Not only are their coats glossy, they are all very healthy and contented. And what do you think earlier generations fed their pets before canned and dry pet food became available? Anyone out there with elderly parents, ask them. All right? So if you're, I don't know, if you've got a mum or a nan who's in 60s, 70s, 80s or whatever, ask them what if they ever had a cat or a dog, what did they used to feed them? Because canned pet food actually hasn't been around that long. Maybe 40 years? What did they do before that? Ask them and let me know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Susan says they did not cook for their pets. All right? So before canned pet food and dry pet food, what did they give their pets? Because they never cooked. My mum used to cook for the dog all the time. He had a real life of luxury. That dog here was called Max. Also, Chris, since Tiny is getting thin due to her age, she could use a tube of Nutrical, which I don't know what this is. Check and see if it's available in England. It is in a tube like toothpaste and is a kind of gel consistency. It is available at pet stores and vets over in the States. This is what they give pets who have had surgery and can't eat or won't eat. It is very high in calories and also contains all the vitamins and nutrients a pet needs. An animal can actually survive on Nutrical alone for months. This would not only help Tiny gain weight, but also help her help her go to the toilet easier. When they get older, constipation can sometimes become a problem. Well, I haven't had the problem at all. I'm fine, 45 years old. I'm still going like there's no tomorrow. Don't you worry about me, Susan. If you can't find Nutrical in England, please let me know, Chris. I would be happy to send you several tubes since it's very inexpensive. That would be my gift for Tyne. That's very kind of you to say so. Actually, when I buy the flea, the flea drops you put on the back of the animals' necks, front line. I think there's 2 types, isn't there? I use front line. What's the other one? Can't remember what the other one's called now. Front line. No, I can't remember now. But I actually buy my flea drops from the USA because it's a lot cheaper, and I have them shipped over. So I'll probably do the same thing if I can't find that tube of stuff that you're suggesting. Please, all of you, Susan says, feed your pets raw meat and fish. Doesn't it make sense that this is what they would eat in the wild? Yeah, well, of course it does, Susan. It absolutely does. On the other hand, of course, years ago, humans would have eaten raw meat, wouldn't we? Or have we? Surely we haven't always cooked it. When you see the pictures of Stone Age man, are they cooking on fires? I don't think they are they? Oh, I don't know. You are not doing your pet any favours by buying processed pet foods. Look at all the problems people are developing from all the additives and preservatives in our foods. Your pets will really enjoy their new diets. Try it and see. So thank you very much for that advice there, Susan. And what you say there at the bottom with the additives and preservative things, I've always been pretty convinced that all these cancers in the world, a lot of these are caused by chemical additives to food. And I'm not interested in government statistics on how much a certain chemical has been tested a certain period of time, and they can find no proof that it causes problems. We were not made by him above to eat chemicals. It's only recently that we've had all these additives added to food, and it's only recently that all these cancers have started getting worse and worse. Tell me I'm wrong. That and radio waves everywhere, I believe. I'm not convinced that mobile phones are good for you, although I'm on mine so much. My new mobile phone, which incidentally is next to me. I did show some of the... I've got a little picture of my cat, on one of my cats on my mobile phone. Look at that, eh? My cat Tiny, that is. No, that's my cat Katie. She's the young one. She was sitting on my lap just a few minutes ago. Huh? Yes, I was sitting downstairs. I thought I'll have my lunch, and I had a vegetable pasty and a cheese and onion pasty and a cup of tea just before I came up to talk to you. All right? Thanks for that, Susan. But yes, all these additives and preservatives, they're not good for humans, so they can't be good for animals either, can they? And working with animals and all this business, I gather, although I haven't heard the show myself, I gather Ross P., who's one of our newer well, he's not a new podcaster, but he's doing a lot more of the talk now. He used to play talk and music. Now he's still playing a little bit of talk in his podcasts. He's still playing a little bit of music in his podcasts, but he's also talking a lot more now. Now, if you want to have a little listen to him, I've mentioned him on the last two shows, and I gather on his most recent show, he was talking about visiting a zoo. Is that right? I got an email from Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com who told me he'd been he was talking about visiting a zoo or something like that. So I'll give you the Ross Patzelt radio show podcast, if download whenever you want. Go to Ross Patzelt radio show. I'll spell it for you. RossPatzeltRadioShow.mypodcast.com. All right, I'll spell Patzelt for you again. The whole address you want is Ross Patzelt Radio Show, all one word, and you spell Patzelt Patzelt. Okay, Ross Patzelt Radio Show .mypodcast.com, and there you can hear Ross's podcast. He also plays new bands. He likes to help new bands on the way. I mean, it's only a little podcast, the same as this one, but both of us enjoy if we can ever give someone else a hand. And of course, there's Joe. There's Joe, our American friend who does a podcast, AmericanTalkUSA.com. Joe's podcast is rather different to mine. I think it's more, what would the word be? More informative. Joe gets out there and finds out about things and informs you about them. Very interesting. And he has a lady on there who does things that are good to do with the body. I think diet things and little bits and pieces like that. So that's always worth a listen to as well. Joe, AmericanTalkUSA.com. There's we're getting quite a little network now, aren't we? Actually, there's James Dean. James Dean and Madam Aries, they do the matinee show, which is all like chit chat between the two of them, and they usually end up slagging me off quite a lot, which I don't mind, you see, because all publicity is good publicity, whether it's bad or not, and you can find that at matineeshow.co.uk. Right, matinee show, or is it the? Oh, hang on a minute, I never get this one right, do I? Matinee. Actually, let's have a look. Wonder how far up the Google list he is now. Because as you get more popular, you kind of move up the Google list. Blimey, he's right. If you type in look at that. Well, he's done very well there. He's done very well there. If you type in matinee show into Google, he's right at the top. That's pretty good, that is, isn't it? And it's matineeshow.co.uk, another podcast for you to try. You'll have no time to yourself. You won't need to watch the telly anymore. matineeshow.co.uk. All right. I wonder how, actually, if I type in United Kingdom... Kingdom Talk. Where does that come up on there? Are we at the top? Oh, yes, I am. No, it actually brings up my website. Oh, there's quite a bit on me, isn't there? Let's have a look at that. Talk, yes, good. All right. And Ross has indeed emailed into the show where we're talking about breaking down. And Ross says, on the subject of you breaking down, I always make a point and stopping and asking if I can help if I see someone that looks as though they have broken down. And he puts in brackets here, if they are fit young ladies. Yeah, I bet you do. You leave them girls alone. You got a nice girlfriend now. What would Donna say if she knew you were doing that? Trying to get hold of these young ladies who are broken down. You're a dodgy character, you really are. It's nice to think that if I ever broke down in my van that someone would help me in return. Yeah, unfortunately, joking aside, Ross, I think you're few and far between. Most people would drive past. Not only would they drive past, I'm afraid if there was a large puddle next to the broken down car, I've got a feeling they'd drive through that as well. So thanks for that, Ross. And Ross, after mentioning Ross's podcast on the show, on the last two shows, Ross has had an offer. So I'm really, really pleased about this. Now, let me see. Where is the question is, where have I put the email? Here we are. And it says the Ross... Ross, now, we always... It's never really a done thing, because this particular show is played out on lots of other little radio stations. It's difficult to mention one radio station over another, so I do try not to do it. Now, I was having a little bit of a conversation with someone about this the other day, and he says, yeah, it's not really done, but sometimes there is a way around it. So rather than say, for example, I don't know, say I owned a radio station called United Kingdom Radio, all right? Actually, I do own that domain, UnitedKingdomRadio.co.uk. But if I owned a radio station called United Kingdom Radio, which doesn't exist, I'm just saying if I did, and I wanted to mention it during my show, but without upsetting other people, I could say, Mark's rung in from United Kingdom. Okay, and generally the people would understand that. So I hope that's all right to sort of try and get around it a little bit like that, because it's nice to have sort of emails in from people who listen by different methods, either the podcast or a radio station. And sometimes I think even though the show is like split up amongst different formats and platforms and stations, it is quite nice that 3 times a week we all get together and share it. So if it's all right with you, radio stations, okay, if I just use like the first part of your name without saying radio at the end, then I hope that's acceptable. If it's not, do let me know, okay? But if that's all right, because we'll start off with this one, because Ross has got an email from Shaun at South Sound, down there in Bristol. And they've offered him to do his show on their station. How fantastic is that? Because of us helping and just basically mentioning it. So that's very good of you, Shaun. Thank you very much, and good luck for Ross. I hope you take that on, Ross. Because Ross is one of those people who needs a little bit of a push. Not much. He loves doing it. But sometimes I think I kind of got over the whole... You know, you do need to hear now and again, thank you for what you're doing. That's all. You do now need to hear that now and again. Thank you for what you do. And really, Shaun, just by you sending him that email, offering him to carry his show is brilliant. And you're the first one, incidentally. You're the first one to take Ross's show. So thanks very much. And Shaun also wrote to me. He was listening when I was reading out that article from Anorak Nation. Now, I'm sure one or two of you are a member of Anorak Nation. And quite honestly, sometimes... On Anorak Nation, my guess is most of the people on there are not youngsters. Now, I've been on forums before where there are a lot of youngsters, and on a lot of internet forums, some of them are really not nice places to be. The way people talk to each other on there, you'd never see that out in the street. It's shocking. There's a particular one, I'm not even going to mention it, there's a particular one that I do go on occasionally, and they are just awful to each other, these people. And quite often, if you join an internet forum and you're a new person, people are vile. They are vile. Maybe you ask something, okay? Maybe you ask some sort of a question, and the answer is in the frequently asked questions section of a forum. And if you accidentally ask it in a post, well, they slate you. They absolutely slate you. Happened to me a few years ago. I can't remember what forum I was on, but I asked something, and then, don't you read the frequently asked questions? And you just don't need to be spoken to like that. Because, quite frankly, it's rude. And no one has the right to talk to anyone like that, I don't think. Anorak Nation, it's not too bad, but sometimes it gets a little bit like that. The sad thing about it is most of the people on there seem to be around my age, which is a bit older. So I think, really, people in their 40s and 50s shouldn't be shouting down at people, but actually helping them. Now, on the other side of the coin, there are some humorous elements to forums. And you have to try and work out which are the nasty ones and which are the humorous ones. And actually, Shaun, the bit that said to me, the bit on the Anorak Nation that said about me, Chris Reardon's United Kingdom Talk, that said I should win an award for waffling aimlessly. That is the funnier side of the forums. I think that's an excellent piece of writing. I don't know who the guy is, but it amused me for hours, that one. I actually sent that around to me. It's fantastic. Whoever wrote that, thank you. I'm a little bit more thick-skinned now. Once you've been around for a while, you do get a bit more thick-skinned. It's horrible when... and it goes the same with the DJing. When I get people come up... Oh, can you hear that? Look at that, look. Incoming call. It says unknown, so we'll send that to the answer phone. Thank you very much. Hello? Yes, we don't answer unknown calls anymore on air. I've had enough of that. No, that's not the truth. The truth is the dentist, okay? You know my dentist. When it's time for your appointment, they start ringing you. Oh, you haven't made an appointment yet, which is a nice thing to remind you. But they don't send their number. It's like an unidentified call. You know, when a phone rings, you usually got the number come up on your screen, haven't you? Well, the dentist don't do that. They don't send their number. So, I know already they've left... They rung me a while ago and I said, well, I'm really busy at the moment. I'll have to call you back later, and I put the phone down. That's a couple of weeks ago. Ever since then, I keep getting these phone calls with no number on them as they come up, so I don't answer them. Because I don't want to go. I hate it. The funny thing is, it's not even particularly painful anymore at the dentist. He's pretty good, but I still hate going to the dentist. Do you? Anyway, as I was about to say then, Shaun, even when I'm DJing in clubs and that, you've got to be fairly thick-skinned. And it's horrible when you're a young DJ and you're just starting out and someone comes and complains. It can really pull you down. It really can. You can have a room full of 300 people dancing. All it takes is one person to come up and complain and it ruins your night. It absolutely ruins your night. So, you know what I'm saying? The Anorak Nation thing, I thought that was quite amusing. Aimlessly waffling. That's what I do here on the show. You know that? Maybe we should call it United Kingdom Talk Aimlessly Waffling with Chris Reardon. What do you reckon? Eh? Anyway, Shaun writes, as you know, I'm Shaun, who owns South Sound. I would like to say that to the email from the people that said you talk rubbish, we have over 50,000 listeners all over the UK and world online that really enjoy your programme on South Sound and would be upset if we ever took it off. As you know, we have your talk show on Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday and now Beat Match on Monday night. See you. So that's fantastic, and he says a lot of people listening. So please read this on your next show, so it's noted that South Sound backs and loves your show. Thank you, Shaun. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much, Shaun. Very nice words there. All right. Whatever way you listen to the show, when you send in an email, tell us how you listen. Say, for example, hello, this is Suko. I listen by the podcast, or this is oh, I forgot her name now. Ivona in Slovakia. Oh, Ivona in Slovakia. You should be able to hear us again now. We are back on FM now in Slovakia. But the times are about to change. Now, if you listen via the satellite, you know what station on. Okay, if you listen via the satellite, RTI, then the times are about to change. We are swapping the music and chat show around. So the chat show will be an hour later than it is. All right? Be warned of that. That's from next week. The chat show will be an hour later if you're listening in Slovakia or Poland on FM, just to let you know that. And Ivona, I do hope you're back with us now, my darling. Ivona is a lovely young lady in Slovakia who emails all the presenters, apparently. I only found this out the other day. I thought I was special, Ivona. I thought I was the only one. And she texts messages. She sends me pictures of herself. I thought I was special. But talking to Eric, apparently you email him as well, dear. God, I thought I was special. All right, so if you're back with us now, Ivona, welcome along, my darling, all right? And also want to say hello to John from Venture. Hello, John. Hope you're well. We're having a little bit of communication on the email. And also my other little friend on Pennine235. I'm just... the name's gone. The name's gone. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I have deep conversations with you, which I enjoy very much. All right, my friend. On we go. Say hello to Suko, who says, Dear Chris, the 301st show you did was the funniest one yet. I was roaring with laughter. She says, first of all, every time you wear the wig, I just crack up. It actually looks pretty good. Do you think so? Where is it now? I think it's on the wall behind me, isn't it? Do you know what, Suko? Someone else said that to me. Someone who came down to the Bingay. I think it was Dane, actually, or Robert, one of the two, who came down to the Bingay last night. And they said that wig actually looks quite good on me. I think I should wear it to Bingay. What do you reckon? Well, I did suggest that before. I might wear that to Bingay. She said, the two sound bites you played were also both hysterical. When you kept playing Carl's over and over, tears of laughter were rolling down my face. Well, he feels left out. You see, that's the trouble with Carl. He does feel left out. And talking of which, Suko, can I just pull in another email here? Because someone... Here it is. It's from our friend Yannick. Yannick, who's a relatively new listener to the show, I think is a 16-year-old lad, who, I'm also pleased to say, has made friends on the internet with my nephew Jimmy. Jimmy's 11 years old, Yannick 16, and apparently they've been having conversations about Chelsea Football Club. So that's nice, isn't it? See, Suko? You said I'm a connector, and I've brought 2 new friends together. So I'm really pleased about that, Yannick. I'm especially pleased that you've made friends with my little nephew there. Good. Who's incidentally just started his new school. Oh yes, my 11-year-old nephew Jimmy, has now started his new school. He's now in secondary school. I can't think of the name of the school, actually. But anyway, and he's enjoyed it there. He's been there a week so far, and so far so good. Seems to be enjoying it. I'm hoping to get a little picture of him in his... I think they've got a school picture, which I shall... oh, actually, I don't know if I'll be allowed to do that. I'm allowed to show you a picture of him, but not all the other children, because it's dreadful. You have to get all sorts of permission and everything now to do that. Ain't it a load of rubbish, eh? But I can put a little picture of my nephew on there, all right? So you'll be able to see him in his little new school uniform. Hi, Chris. A few shows. Sorry, Suko. This has come from Yannick, who you were talking about Carl there, and he was saying about the chippy, wasn't he? He sent that thing of Yorkshire accent. And Yannick says, hi, Chris. A few shows ago, you taught us some UK slang, or Cockney slang, rather. Could you do one sentence in every show? I'd absolutely love it. Well, I don't know about that, Yannick. All right. Well, today's sentence is... did I do this one? I might have done this one last time. A cup of Rosie Lee. Okay? A cup of Rosie Lee means tea. So, all right, mate, do you fancy a cup of Rosie Lee? All right, so, would you like a cup of tea? Try it then. Are you ready? After the tone. All right, mate, do you fancy a cup of Rosie Lee? Doot. Did you do it? Try it again. All right, mate, do you fancy a cup of Rose... Oh, try it again. All right, mate, do you fancy a cup of Rosie Lee? Doot. Did you do it? Yeah, that's today's slang, all right? And that is indeed why Carl sent in that little soundbite of himself. Because he was feeling a little bit left out, weren't you, Carl? And he likes to point out that even... Oh, I can hear a helicopter going over. That's probably... Oh, they're not looking for me. They're looking for me again. They'll never find me in the studio. Never find me in the mirror. They probably can see the glint of the mirror ball moving around, shining out the window behind me. Yeah, and Carl wanted to do a bit of a Yorkshire. You were feeling left out, weren't you, Carl? Admit it, eh? Eh, me old mate? Oh, and Carl was also moaning the other day that the aspect ratio of the video side of things had gone a little bit wrong. Apparently, I had got thinner. It squashed me a little bit, but hopefully that's working now. All right. Suko says, here are a couple of explanations from my emails that you read on the show. Belize, how did I say it? Belize, didn't I? Is pronounced Belize. From Wikipedia, Belize, formerly British Honduras, is a country in Central America, where I've been actually. Once part of the Mayan and Spanish empires, it was most recently a British colony, gaining its independence in 1981. The country is bordered to the south and west by Guatemala, to the north by Guantanamera, 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 sorry, I get carried away. I do like that song. Which is to the north of Mexico, and to the east by the Caribbean Sea. Deo, Deo. Daylight come and they wanna go home. Day, miss a 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 day. Oh, well, we love the Caribbean, and we love the Caribbean people as well. Lovely people. I've been there a couple of times as well. Suko also mentioned a zip line, which I wasn't quite sure what that is. Anyway, she says a zip line is like a cable. What we did was hike up a mountain, then we had to climb up several very high ladders to a platform. What, no lift, dear? I thought all you Americans went everywhere in an elevator, didn't you? What about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, dear? Well, that was UK, wasn't it? I don't know. We were geared up with helmets, gloves and a harness. Oh, you're not starting to wear harnesses, are you, Suko? Oh, dear, dear. It's all downhill now, my love. I've got a feeling Joy's got a couple of harnesses at home as well. But that's not for this sort of programme, dear. Shh. which was attached to overhead cables, which is the zip line. And we were pushed from platform to platform over rainforest, which was abundant with colourful birds and the sounds of other animals. How beautiful. The distance between each platform increased as you went on. The first one was about 200 feet and built up over 1,500 feet. My friend Betty, the one who had written to you about her trip to London, yes, I remember, her daughter April, who is Jade's best friend, Jade, Jerry and I did it all. Fantastic. It sounds dangerous. Well, it does, actually. I don't think you'd catch me up there, but it really isn't. You were hooked up to 2 cables, so if one were to snap, the other is a backup. Well, not with my weight, dear. I need at least 5 cables holding me up there. 5. I will try to locate the pictures and send you a couple. You asked what a hobosexual were. We're not quite sure what a hobosexual were. Don't you remember you wanted to know if there was a term for a gay man who does not dress well? You read this email from me on the show a couple of weeks ago. As for gay men who do not dress well, I conned the word hobosexual. So that's me. I am a hobosexual. That is a gay man who does not dress well. That is me. Why spend money on clothes when you can have another gadget? I've got a gadget here, but you're not going to be able to see what it is till the next show because we're nearly out of time. If Mark Simpson could coin the word metrosexual as he did in 1994, I can coin my own word. Let's use it and see if it takes off. So for it to sound funny and not offensive, you should have read the email you read yesterday without interruption. Oh, I do beg your pardon, dear. As for your increased poundage, don't worry about it. It's only for all those homosexual friends of yours that find it appalling. Yeah, it's true. As for your hetero and homosexual friends, you look just fine. Thank you, Suko. I need to hear that. She says, P.S. I'm going to send you some Surtac, which you can stick on the wig, and it will stay on your head, which I've got. Thank you, Suko. But I have to tell you, I've just got this now. It's arrived. I have to tell you, the envelope was open when it came. All I've got is one letter and the tack, which I'll try on the next show, OK? But not now, because we've run out of time. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Thanks for watching and listening. See you on the next show. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye.